back at you with a new collection update. This time a big stack of CDs once again. Yeah, going genres everywhere once again as well. So this goes really from thrash to hardcore to death metal to jazz. Yeah, there is some goth rock in there. You know, it's a different kind of mismatch of stuff here. I don't know if you can hear it, but we're listening to the newest Goat Moon. What once was Shelby again, fantastic black metal from Finland. Definitely recommended. So let's dive into this and see where this all goes. First one up is their second album from Demolition Hammer, this Epidemic of Violence. One I really wanted to have for a while in my collection, but I never pulled the trigger. But finally I did. It was cheap somewhere, so I decided to pull the trigger. Nice Century Media reissue. So yeah, it's easy to grab hold of. Old school thrash, kind of a death metal edge to it as well, because the thrash is pretty furious, and the production of this definitely sound me on Morris Sound. Even isn't Morris Sound actually. Let's see, I don't know where it's recorded. Normandy Sound, no, it's in Rhode Island, New January, Rhode Island, New York. It definitely has that kind of a kick drum to it, kind of that feel. A lot of Morris Sound bands had. So it's definitely good produced as well, but it's fantastic thrash. Really love it, love the vocals, love the riffing. Really good stuff. Nothing wrong with this, and really nice reissue. Some live tracks as bonus as well. We have Mercenary Aggression live, Cataclysm live, Clipping Velocity live, and what's the other one? Phobia Obsession. Carnivorous Obsession. Sorry. It's really hard to read in this font here, but it's also on track which is on the album, so yeah, I can compare that. But fantastic tracks. It's a track listing, you guys can see. Love the artwork as well, really fantastic artwork here. Always loved it, and yeah, when you see the person it's even cooler. Really cool stuff. Demolition Hammer, very good band, definitely worth looking into if you haven't done already, because this is such a classic. Can't go wrong there. Also bought this one from Propane. Contents Under Pressure, classic hardcore with some metal pushed through it. Really good stuff. Classic album by this band. This is band's second or third album. I think this is the third album, if I have that correct, in the early 90s. Definitely a great band, always loved them. The track State of Mind, of course, is a bigger song on this, because that bass line and that riff is really well known. If you hear that, then you think, hey, that track, you know, that kind of song it is. Fantastic tunes. Front cover is not really special, but yeah, it is what it is. It's an early press, so I like it as well, to have this in my collection. Here's a track listing. Good hardcore. Definitely look into this, guys. If you like some hardcore with a metal edge to it, definitely recommend it. Really fantastic band, long running band, still active. And every album from this band is worth checking out, so doesn't matter if you have this one or another one. Most of them are fantastic, so go check out Propane. And a rebuy for me actually. This is Biohazard with Urban Discipline, the first major debut release. This was back in the day, released on Roadrunner Records. Yeah, Roadrunner saw potential after the first album, and they're glad they did, because this is such a fantastic classic album. classic hardcore. Again, that metal edge to it, kind of hip hop groove to it as well. Great lineup, classic lineup from the band, as you guys can see. Yeah, Dennis Schuler, Evan Seinfeld, Billy Graziadei, and Bobby Hambel. Classic lineup on this. Classic tunes on it as well. Yeah, Punishment, of course. Shades of Grey is on here. Business. Black and white and red all over is on here. Wrong Side of the Tracks. Yeah, definitely fantastic tunes. Hold My Own, of course, is a classic track. Yeah, all great tunes in this. This is an old Digipack version. I bought this second hand, but it's in pretty decent condition. So I was really happy to grab this back into my collection. Yeah, great tunes. Punishment is probably one of my favorites on this. But yeah, it's fantastic stuff. Urban Discipline by Biohazard. And when I was at it, I also ordered their self-titled debut album, Biohazard, from 1990. Never had this one in my collection, but I'm really glad to have this now. Fantastic album. Not as prominent, as good as Urban Discipline and the album after this, but definitely still really great hardcore. Victory's on here, Blue Blood is on here. Wrong Side of the Tracks, which is of course recorded on the other one. Hold My Own. Let's see what's more on this. Survival of the Fittest. Yeah, great band. Inside here, and this was released on another label back in the day. Yeah, but really glad to own this finally. I can add this to my collection. Definitely want to pick up more old Biohazard that I want to have. I definitely want to have the third album back, State of the World Address. I definitely want to have that one back in my collection, and someday that will happen. It's such a fantastic album, but this one's really decent as well. I'm really glad to have this back. Then we go a different territory. This is the Berzerker with Dissimulate. The second album from this Australian band. Really aggressive death grind with a lot of industrial and noise effects added to it. Those blast beats are really pumped up with those electronic beats. Kind of remind me of that Gabber beats, you know, the Dutch hardcore electronic music. Definitely at that bit with extreme death grinds, then you know what you get. Really sick stuff. This is definitely more. It's a great album. The first album, the self-titled one, was brutal, but this one is even more brutal. It's so punishing. It starts already with the first song, Disregard, Failure, Principle of Practices of Embalming, No One Wins. You know, it continues and continues. It's a big punishment. The last song is in Carcass cover, Corporal Jigsaw Quandary, which is really nice to have that as well on this. I don't know if this band's still active though. They've released a couple of albums, and yeah, really glad to have this in my collection. This was released on Earache back in the day, and yeah, really controversial band as well, wearing all those masks on stage and whatever. Cool band, the Berzerker. Then I have the new album from Force, which is called War Remains. Fantastic thrash band, crossover as well, thrash crossover I think you could call this. Fantastic riffing, punishing vocals. It's really raw, with a good production, punch in the face. The band's third album, and definitely one of their best releases. So fantastic. I really love the album prior to this, Kill Grid, which was amazing. But I think this one definitely is at least as good as that one. Band is in good roll, and hope they continue for a good long time. If you like the Kill Great album, you definitely will like this one as well. It's in the same vein, and yeah, really fantastic release. Enforced with War Remains. Really glad to have this in my collection. And I picked up a reissue of Walls of Jericho by Helloween. Classic power metal album from Germany. Of course, you have the regular album, and then there's a nice bonus track, bonus disc with a lot of other remixes and live versions and stuff like that. Stuff from Death Metal Sampler, you know, that split LP with a few other bands. A few tracks of those are on here as well. I haven't listened to the second disc really yet, so I don't know what surprise track is the 7th song on that disc, but the first disc is called the classic album. You can't go wrong with that. Yeah, really good stuff. Classic album. And guys, it's a good disc set, so let's show the other disc as well. And then we see here a few other reissues from this band. But really glad to have this finally, because this one was really lacking in my collection. I finally have it. Still with Kai Hansen on vocals, which is really nice to hear. Good stuff. Helloween with Walls of Jericho. Then I picked up 2 releases from The Cure. The Cure, The Cure, I like The Cure. I picked up Pornography, the 1982 album, which is a phenomenal album. I really love the dark vibe on this record. Fantastic tunes, really you get in a certain mood if you listen to the whole album, and that's what makes this album so good. This was the last album before they became more popular, let's put it that way. But you get it for more commercial sounding records with the coming ones, but it's a really decent album. Really love it. And also picked up 1992's Wish, this is a 30th anniversary version. Fantastic album as well, but different than the other one. It still has that gore file, but of course it is more light-hearted compared to this album. It's definitely more written to a wider audience, on purpose or not, I don't care, but it's still a really good album, and it's fine. It was about time that they reissued this one, because it took a long time to reissue this, but finally they did, especially for the vinyl lovers. I don't think it was released on vinyl, and if it was not easy to get. I don't know what the exact story was, but it's on vinyl available again. But I found it a pretty penny costing, so I thought let's pop it for a CD here, and yeah, don't mind actually. I like the Cure, and CD version sounds just good, so nothing wrong with this. We enjoyed listening to this album, so it's all about, right? Listening to music and enjoying it. And then I have 2 releases which way out of my comfort zone. But I was browsing Burning World Records, and I picked a few albums of like the 2 Biohazard ones, I think, and the Propane one, and these 2, and the last one, I think. Anyways, this is the Lovecraft Sextet with Miserere. I think that's it's called. This is the 2nd release from this outfit. This is an outfit run by Jason Koonen. This is a Dutch musician, and he has a lot of projects like this one and a few other ones he has in the past, and one of them I'm going to talk after this one about. But this is some really dark, droning, experimental, dark ambient, dark jazzy music. There's even some opera in here with a vocal wise. There's an operatic vocal in here, but there's a lot of a really dark journey. I was not really never big into jazz, but if you play it like this, then I definitely will enjoy this. It's just so dark, so kind of melancholic. It has a really weird vibe, ambience to it. It's really eerie. I can't explain it, but it's really good stuff. Yeah, and yeah, it's kind of funny that this is released on a metal label, but I understand why. It definitely could compel to some metal fans that like to listen to more experimental music, and that is definitely what this is. A lot of more experimental. It by no means metal, but it's so dark. It could appeal to some metal fans out there. Yeah, really great tracks. Occulta, Dominin, Sanctum, Sacrificium, Humiliation, and Libera are the tracks on this album. 7 tracks, lengthy tracks as well. But it's really good stuff. Really enjoyed this. Can't go wrong. The Lovecraft Sextet, fantastic dark jazz music. Definitely worth looking into this. And if you like that kind of stuff, also try to look into the Kilimanjaro Darkjazz Ensemble, which is this one. This is a self-titled one, originally released in 2006, and this is a 22 reissue. This is also that kind of vibe, but definitely more dark ambient soundtrack wise. The other one is more drony, experimental. This one is more like, if you like things like Silent Hill, that kind of movies, or some bands like Over, Shadow of the Sun release, that kind of stuff. You have to look into this, and it makes it with the dark jazz vibe. It's really again experimental, but really dark and eerie sounding music. And yeah, it could also to a lot of people. Of course, this is Jason Koenen again. He has here help from Guido Kiers, which is also well known in that kind of world. And the duo are get some musicians around them to make this kind of albums. I think they made 4 of those, if I'm correct, and they performed live as the what's the other one called? Doom Fuji Jazz, Dark Jazz Ensemble or something like that. It's called, I think. It was the live output there. They put the live things from this album live with some extra things with guest musicians and stuff like that. And a lot of musicians used on the album were also performing live with this duo, and it's so really interesting sounding. Like I said, if you like that Silent Hill kind of music, you know, the soundtrack, the horror themed game movies, then you definitely will like this. It's just really eerie sounding. Kind of bumps me that this logo is upside down here. Why they didn't do it like the other way around? No. If you store it like this, is on the upside down. Yeah, maybe it pulls upside down with this kind of vibe, but yeah, it's really interesting. I really enjoyed those both releases from Jason Koenen. Yeah, really interesting stuff. If you like want to try something different besides metal, you like dark music, just try those 2 releases. You might enjoy them. You never know. And the last one in this deck is a legendary band. if you are into funeral doom, that is. This is the latest one for Skepticism and its companion. Yeah, Finnish funeral death doom, funeral doom. There was always something special to this band, and they kept on having that with organ sounds and heavy guitar, slow tempos, and that heavy growl. Kind of a really special thing to them. I've seen them live once as well on Dutch Doom Days years ago. I think in 2004, 5, 6, 7, in that era or something. Don't know exact year, but I have seen them live in that era, and that was fantastic. And to live that the material live is a unique chance. If you can see them live, definitely do that. It has a really nice, dark, heavy vibe to them. Yeah, fantastic band. This is their latest effort, like I said, for a couple of years ago, but never came around to grab a copy. And finally, I have a copy here. Yeah, definitely need to pick up more from these guys. I have a couple of albums, but definitely want to have them all someday. But this is a fantastic album. I have spun it digitally a lot back in the day when it came out, and I really enjoyed it. I finally got the chance to get a copy. Released on Smart Records. Good stuff. Go check out this Funeral Doom Legends Skepticism with companion. Definitely worth looking into. So that's my update, guys. Stuff I got online from Burning World Records and from another distro, and a really nice pile of music here, and definitely will keep me busy for a while. Oh, I keep that saying every time. My collection is growing and growing, but you know, if you want to, if you find something cool, I definitely want to find a physical copy from that, and you know, to relive that every time. Music is passion for me, and hopefully you guys understand that out there, and get some physical copies as well to keep all those bands alive, physical formats alive, you know. Yeah, awesome. That's all I can say, and yeah, hope you enjoyed this, guys. Thank you all for watching. If you got something to say, put it in the comment section down below. I will name the albums in the description so you can look them up easily, and that's it, guys. See you guys next video. Cheers.